It was a different time. That's what we say in this country when we don't have the words to describe why so many people suffered, when we don't have the answers as to how it happened and why. It was a different time. It's not easy to find the words to describe how we as a country treated our most vulnerable. It's difficult, it's painful, it's uncomfortable, but it is essential. We need to find the words, however hard it might be. We need to put in plain English, this is the truth, the painful truth of what happened to these institutions. We need to say it. We need to acknowledge it. We need to do what we can as a society to finally compensate for it. We can't move on until we do. What do we do when we ask people to come forward to tell their stories of what happened to them in mother and baby homes? Stories of incarceration, stories of heartbreak, stories of abuse. We ask them to trust us. We ask them to believe that the mistakes of previous reports will not be repeated. We ask them to set aside their experiences of being mistreated by the institutions of the state. We ask them to believe us that things will be different this time. This time, we'll centre survivors. This time, we'll make a real effort to provide justice. This time, we'll get it right. But what happened instead? It's difficult to know where to start. In October, we saw this government rush through legislation in relation to the Commission, despite the concerns of survivors, the opposition, and the entire general public. The public outcry around the so-called sealing of the archives came directly from you and statements from your department, Minister. You rushed through the legislation without scrutiny unnecessarily. You claimed GDPR did not apply and said that was the advice of the Attorney General. And then it transpired that GDPR does apply, and in fact, that was the AG's advice all along. Again, survivors' needs and concerns were denied and disregarded by an Irish government. Not a government of the 1920s or the 1940s, but the government of 2021. This government, your government. We like to claim we've moved on as a society, but still today abuse is allowed to happen. This is how abuse happens. This is how abuse is continuing. In recent weeks, the Commission said they had destroyed 549 survivor testimonies. When almost immediately people questioned how digital files could be truly deleted in this day and age, the Commission said they carried out an investigation and could confirm that the testimonies were unrecoverable. In recent days, you went from saying, I won't extend the Commission because I don't think it's legally possible. When that was debunked, you changed tack and said, I don't want to extend the Commission because that will scupper subject data access requests. That was also debunked. Then when you were backed into a corner, miraculously, the tapes were discovered. It's ironic when people are seeking the truth to be met with so many untruths. The Commission of Investigation is due to dissolve in 4 days' time. It has done good work in many areas, and that too needs to be acknowledged. But there are considerable and very legitimate concerns, and there are questions that need to be answered. Who will be held accountable? Who will answer the legitimate concerns of survivors regarding their testimonies, their stories? Unfortunately, it would appear that the Commission of Investigation are designed to leave no one accountable. The government distances themselves, saying it's an independent body, and the Commission refuses to appear before committees. The Mother and Baby Homes Commission is part of a series of reports, the McAleese, Walsh, Harding Clark, that minimised the abuse and violence against women and their children and sought to explain it away, in particular by undermining survivor testimonies. Many survivors across these Commission's reports say the process has been callous and hostile, and here we have it again. In the words of Dr. Mairead Enright, it doesn't matter who the respectable messenger or figurehead is. The state has been doing this for years. This latest report is just the sloppiest and most expensive example of it. Where is the accountability? Survivors are seeking the right to see that their testimonies are accurately recorded and represented in the report. Regrettably, parts of the final report appear incoherent, self-contradicting, and contain leaps of judgment unsupported by evidence. The executive summary states that women were admitted to mother and baby homes and county homes because they failed to secure support of their family and the father of their child. Later, they share details of women and children raped, some by their family members, and vulnerable women assaulted in state care. The summary also includes the incredulous claim that the Commission found very little evidence that children were forcibly taken from their mothers. It accepts that mothers did not have much choice, but that is not the same as forced adoption. Ignoring the testimony of survivors, testimony we now know that the Commission were determined to destroy, such callous contradictions compounds the suffering of survivors and undermines the credibility of the Commission. Why are you preventing survivors from understanding why their lived experience was disregarded in the final report? What does the Commission not want people asking about? What is the role of the government in this? While it is a massive relief to discover that the deleted testimonies have miraculously appeared to be recoverable, we are left with more questions than answers. If the Commission is dissolved at the end of this week, who will be left to answer these questions? Will the Minister and his department, or will he pass the buck on to a non-existent Commission? You know we can extend the Commission, Minister, and you know it should be done. Judicial reviews are a basic entitlement. Survivors and adopted people are entitled to challenge the findings and recommendations of this report. If they choose to do this, how can they bring a judicial review application against a Commission that no longer exists? Should a mother not be entitled to a judicial review to challenge the finding that there is no evidence of coerced or forced adoption? Or the finding that the labour in the homes was not abusive, but simply what women would be expected to do in the home? The Commission's recommendations are stark. They make no recommendation of redress for women whose children were taken. The only recommendations for redress are for women who worked in county homes or CHUM, or for the stay of longer than 6 months. They make no recommendation for redress for children, except children who were kept in institutions without their mothers. They ignore the illegal separation of mother and children in their redress recommendations. And of course, it turns out that if someone's testimony is not recoverable, they should be able to seek a remedy under GDPR in the courts as required by EU law. You've begrudgingly accepted EU law in the past. I hope you'll do it again today. And very importantly, we need the Data Protection Commission to be able to continue its investigation so we can learn what went wrong. The Commission must be extended for truth and justice. The Commission's legitimacy is derived from the survivors, not the other way around. If the survivors say it's not over, then it is not over. That is survivor-centred, human rights-centred and justice-centred, something you promised. All of the progress on this matter has occurred in spite of the Minister and the Department, not because of them. The acknowledgement that GDPR applies, the commitment to allow access to the Minister's copy of the archive, and the last-minute discovery of the tapes. All of this has only been achieved through the tireless activism of survivors, adopted people and advocacy groups with massive public support. I'm asking you, Minister, to extend the Commission, to put survivors first this time. I'm asking TDs from all parties and none to take a stand today and say loud and clear to the survivors that you will use your vote, that this time it will be different. If the Commission is not extended, the only question left worth asking is whose interests are being served, because it is not the interests of survivors. You know you can extend the Commission. I think we all do. And Minister, you know, yourself and the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach and the report blamed society for what happened back then, that it was society's fault that this happened. Society is very different now. Society wants you to do this, so there is no excuse for not doing it. The irony of people being met with so many untruths, even in the last week, when this should be a truth-giving exercise, is simply unacceptable. People have had enough. Irish society has enough. And if society has the pull and punch and power that you and the Commission's report say it does, then you will extend this Commission.